Hello everyone, welcome to our second workshop. This is a series we do where we cover a wide range of topics related to Web3. When it comes to the blockchain itself, we'll cover certain topics in the future, but these things can always be found online and everything else, right? But for the people that are in Web3 space and those that want to join the Web3 space, it's quite hard to find specific topics and start from the basics on how to act in this space, right? And what to expect and some other things. And based on that, based on the feedback from the community and everything else around, we've decided to create something a bit different where we will cover the basics at the beginning and later on throughout each topic explain things in more detail, covering a wide range of different, I would say, sectors. Today is the social club, and this is the Web3 communications or Web3 comms. In today's workshop, we'll cover the basics of how to communicate in Web3 and what does that exactly mean. There is also a thing that I should mention. This is only the beginner level, so I try to cover as many things as I can, but still not to prolong the presentation inevitably, since I could talk a lot, as everyone already knows. And we will go over some of the, I would say, general information regarding the Web3 communication and some of the most common mistakes that I have seen in the space over the years that I've been working in the industry. And as I said already, it might hurt a bit to learn the truth on certain things, and it was quite a struggle for me to write certain things up and to, how would I call it, and to put them in writing. But I think it had to be done since I truly wish everyone here that's learning, that's attending, to figure it out on their own as well and understand why certain people might misinterpret certain things when it comes to communication. Okay, first things first, let's do a quick screenshot here. Let me smile. Okay, just so I can save it for later, right? Tweets. Okay, let's start. The first thing is this guide is designed to help you communicate in the space in a professional and effective way. We will walk through each of the elements, explaining on how to present yourself and why this matters. Why this matters is because the words that you use in the space, since it's an online space, are also your first impression. How you chat, post, and engage shapes what people think of you. Good communication helps you build trust, helps you find jobs, find projects, partnerships, and so on and so on. Poor communication, of course, on the other hand, closes the doors quite fast. And it's always hard to make a first impression twice. You can only do that once, right? Your words build your brand. And it's important on how you approach these things from every aspect. Topics we'll cover is why communication matters, common mistakes people make when chatting, how to build your personal brand through communication, how to speak clearly and professionally, how to handle chats, debates, and build your network, staying safe and protecting your privacy, but as well others, and action steps to practice after the workshop. Okay, let's go. Disclaimer, once again, on every of these workshops, this is my personal opinion. These are the things that I think people do wrong. These are the things that annoy me, that I think I should fix, that I fixed. So keep in mind, again, this is personal opinion. If you disagree, once again, completely fine. We'll debate that later on in the future. Everyone can share what they think. Everyone can implement the things that they think are good, and of course not implement things that are bad. But on the other hand, this is something I think people should change, and this is something that I have faced for the past, I would say, 6 years now in Web3 space and working in Web3 space. And these are things based on the communication with other people that are here in the space for quite some time, that we figured out that there are certain patterns. Certain things here could be a bit triggering to some people and some members. So I will not kind of apologize for that, because again, personal experience, personal opinion, and we have to be quite heavy on this disclaimer, right? Okay, your words in Web3 are your handshake, your pitch, and your story. Choose them wisely. I think this quote explains everything that we'll cover today. And since we are unable to meet in person, we are unable to meet each other day-to-day lives, right? Everyone lives on the other sides of the world, besides the events, of course. It's quite important to pick your words, to choose your words, and to think about before you send certain things to people and communicate with people online. Since it will always be saved, it can always be found. So please listen up. Why communication matters. Communication builds your reputation, opens doors to jobs, partnerships, learning, opportunities, friends, and so on. Web3 is global. It moves quite fast. It's 24/7. It never sleeps. It's online first. We are quite proud of our anonymity. So there is doxing, not doxing. And this is how things work in Web3 through online channels and through online social media and stuff like that. Your words equal your brand. So everything you say online can be saved, stored, and revisited. People don't forget since they have the written proof, right? Common mistakes. Tone and language. Too much slang or buzzwords confuse people. Acting superior turns people away. This is something that we try to change through our G4G mantra. Being too formal makes you sound distant. This is why my style of communicating and presenting is like as a jokester or whatever we want to call it. And the tone is easily misunderstood in text. Here you can see that I care about certain things that I speak. Here you can see on how I pronounce them, if I'm angry, if I'm sad, and so on. But over texts, it's quite hard to misinterpret the tone and think something is wrong when it's not. This happens quite often, of course, with my wife as well, but that's a different story. Key point. Speak so people understand you. We're covering the first few things, then we get to the interesting parts. Behavior in chats. Shilling your project without context, not really the best approach, right? Ghosting after networking with people, it just shows that either you're super busy or that you don't care, but eventually people forget you, so everything that you invested in that networking stays forgotten and people cannot remember you later on when you want to approach them again. Arguing emotionally instead of discussing calmly. This is one of the things that I see a lot of on socials and in the space. Being emotional is fine, but once again, you need to control yourself. If you're unable to control your emotions and act professional or in any way communicate your thoughts in a clear way, then it's hard to communicate with you, right? Leaving DMs unanswered without any reason also could be because someone forgot it, but also you should definitely make something to fix those things, as I am doing right now. For me personally, I'm managing a lot of conversations, and I know the poor Miro from our BD team is always checking on these things to make sure that he didn't miss anything. Be someone people want to chat with. That's the key point in this. Your profile. Okay, this is now quite an interesting one as well, since we've covered on the first workshop the Twitter profile. This is the first impression when people see on how they see you, place you in the Web3 space. This is why covering how your profile looks and making it clean and professional is quite important on actually approaching someone and then starting a chat with them. And this is why the topic of Twitter profile and the base setup of it came before this. In future, every other topic that we cover will connect like puzzle pieces towards everything that we do on these workshops. Key point is people check your profile first before they reply to your DMs in most cases. No worries, I can see a lot of chatter here. We are going to cover each of these topics in more details. This is just an overview of everything that we'll discuss today. Casual and professional communication. Again, the microphone. This will happen from time to time. You know me. I'll buy a new microphone. I'll buy the professional one, so I look cool. Back to the topic. Starting chats without context. Quite not the way you should do things. Asking clear questions is quite important. Be short but polite. Give value first before asking for help is quite a good approach as well. And end chats kindly, no matter how they, if you got what you needed or you didn't. Always try to separate and end conversations in a respectful way, because you never know what a couple of years in the future will bring, or who that person knows, or what could come out of that relationship. Even though you might have not achieved your goal through that chat, doesn't mean that you need to be disrespectful in any way or sort or form or whatever. So simple, respectful and clear. Public discussions and debates. This is something that I'm strongly against. Of course, debates should be, I want to debate things, I want to chat with people, I want to discuss with people, but when you're doing those things, explain your thoughts simply, be clear, be precise. Best way, use examples. Respect different views, no matter on if you think they're wrong or right, or if people insult you or something. It speaks more about them rather than you. So always try to be respectful. If you are triggered or something, remove yourself from the conversation. That's the best way on approaching these types of scenarios. Jokes are fine. Trolling people is not. I'll allow trolling me for microphone and stuff. That is completely fine. And help first, flex later. The G4G mantra. If you help others, it will definitely bring you value later on, and trust me on that. Respect earns respect. That's the key point of this one. And we are getting closer to the recap, then we go into the cool stuff. Trust me, it will all make sense now. I'm covering it quite fast, and you'll see on why. And of course, you'll get the presentation as well. Smart networking in Web3. Support others publicly. You'll never know who will see you, who will see your comment or something. Comment and engage before DMing. This is one that's quite important. We'll show an example later on. And follow up politely. I am dropping a lot of these key points as well, and one is give before you take, and everything will make sense once we get to the examples. And now we come to the cool part, where I can actually start making some people angry and making some people confused or something of a sort. The first part of the presentation was quite fast. I wanted to go over everything and leave a few thoughts in your head, so you are a bit overwhelmed with information right now. We've covered them quite fast. All of that makes sense, right? When I read it, all of that makes it super clear. You think, oh yeah, this is 100%, nothing new, nothing relevant, and so on, right? And through this quick recap, before going into the common mistakes part, I wanted to show you that things that you think you already know and things that you perceive as, how would I call it, irrelevant, or you think you're doing them well, you think there are no issues through all of the points that we covered. I'll try to show in these examples and common mistakes each of these points through experience that I would say most of the people in Web3 have seen over the years. And then I want everyone here to ask yourself if you have seen these mistakes, if you face these mistakes, if you're doing these types of mistakes, and hopefully after the workshop you will find a way on how to correct certain things. Once again, this is a personal opinion. This is not aimed to offend anyone. I am really just trying to help. And all of the examples I'm using, all of the topics and all of the points are just examples, not calling out on anyone. I don't want anyone to feel bad about this. Everyone's here to learn. This is the goal. Some examples are over exaggerated just to prove a point, and hopefully you'll get the gist of it. And now let's start with this first example. Sending empty DMs without context. Messaging someone GM or hello without explaining on why is a waste of their time, especially if they are working in Web3 and are quite busy individual. Busy people won't reply just to figure out what you want, right? They have a lot of other things that they need to sort out. And if that conversation takes forever for them, they will rather leave the DM unopened and just not approach it unless they figure out you are, again, DMing them and asking questions. So it's quite important to give context in your first message. And before actually moving on to the next slide, I also want to say that all of these things are also divided between different personas in Web3. I tried to generalize things and group everything under one, I would say, group and banner, but it's not science. So you'll have to find a way, and you'll have to figure out what situation calls upon which approach. Of course, with friends, it's casual and you can do whatever, right? But if this goes more towards either people you don't know in the space or people that are working in the space for projects that you need something from them, that work for, I don't know, companies like Solflare or companies like, I don't know, whoever. And these are the more people you don't know and people who work in the space. So if you DM someone with GM or hello without explaining, it's quite hard for that individual, since they probably get these messages a lot, to reply to you immediately or check out what you need. So if we go under the GM and hello messages and they start with this is hello GM, waiting for a reply, then someone has to reply, hello, how can I help, or what do you need? And then you go back and reply to them with, can you help me with something? They say yes. Then you say, can you help me with this, and that? Then they ask you, can you share this information with me? Answer things like that. That conversation becomes quite tiresome and quite long, meaning that the person needs to open that DM multiple times to take a look at your request, to take a look at what you need, what you're doing. And if you stated it clearly in the beginning, your goals, like with the example here, hello, quick question about your staking platform. Do you support whatever wallets, and how can I do this, and that? I have this issue or whatever. The person can immediately open up the DM, see, okay, this guy needs help with this. Either can you open up this link, you'll find the solution, knowing that you'll get the answer immediately, or he will share a lot more information for you by answering immediately your question. It's completely fine to ask that individual how they are doing and everything else on that, but also include directly on why you have reached out and why have you DM'd them. So tips and trips on this is greet plus add your question in the same message. Don't wait for them to ask, what do you need, or how can I help, and everything else around that. Be polite and clear. This way you'll get the reply much faster, the person will know what you need, and you will be quite happy in the end, and that conversation will be closed and quite fast. This way certain things and certain conversations can take multiple days to end up with a simple statement or a simple question that was waiting to be asked, right? Okay, next one. Reaching out to the wrong person. Many people DM founders or top team members or C-level members who are not handling the tasks that the individual is asking for, right? This is a waste of time for these individuals, but also for those that are sending the DMs, because you will never get a reply, but you also invested a lot of time into drafting that message and sending it or explaining the thing that you need. It's better to find the right person for a topic that you need help with or for the question that you're asking. So the key point is reach out to the person who can actually help you. Let's go immediately onto the examples, right? Look for community managers, support, comms people first before reaching out to the top tier people or someone who is in a completely different department. If you're unsure to whom to reach, ask in the community who you need to contact, who is the best person for that issue, how you can solve this issue. Don't expect founders to solve support issues, right? This is just, again, an exaggeration on the topic, but it's quite important to reach out to the right person when you need certain help or you need a piece of information, because that person will be able to reply to you quite fast. If they need to redirect you 3 times to get the answer that you're searching for, again, it's quite exhausting for them and you, and it will take a lot of time. So the yes is, I have a question about staking. Who is the best person to ask? Immediately. Hello, let's go to this is what I need, who is the best person? And you'll probably get an answer quite fast on that. But saying hello to the founder, I can stake my tokens, please help. I don't think you'll get that reply. Maybe in certain cases, of course, you will. But is he the best person to reach out to and solve your problem? Because most probably he is not in charge of that issue. So be sure, check out on whom to contact, how to contact them before you reach out. Yeah. Not searching for answers before asking. This is one of, I think, my favorite ones, and this is probably one of the most triggering things for people that are working on the problem in the Web3 and on the problems and replying to things and chatting with people is many people ask questions in DMs without checking the website documentation or the community. This shows laziness and wastes others' time. Strong word, I know, but it's true. Me personally, sometimes yes, sometimes no. I have to admit, I'm sure you guys do that as well. Maybe not in this space, maybe at home, when your brother or sister or whoever asks for 1,000 times where they left their phone or game or whatever, right? So why is this important? Because if you ask quite a basic question and someone put in an effort in certain things and drafted the things and shared the documents and drafted all of the things that you need, right? And you didn't check it out, you didn't read through it, then you're just showing to them that you didn't go over everything and that you did not participate in these things even though everything's stated, right? So key point is search for answers yourself first. And what I mean by that is check Twitter, check websites, Discords, documentation, Google the answers before you try asking the questions. Ask only if your question isn't already answered. Good questions get better replies, and trust me, you'll have much higher reply rate if you ask the right question. So on yes side is I've checked the docs but didn't find info on staking rewards. Could you please clarify? What's a no? How do I stake without even checking the staking guide, right? And this is quite a common issue, I would say, in the space overall and in the world, not in this industry, is that people are lazy to read. And I'm sure everyone can agree with that, and I'm sure that everyone doesn't read things. I don't either, so I have to admit on these things. But simple questions are probably answered, right? So if the company didn't reply or share or kind of give an information regarding that question somewhere online or someone else addressed it, they are probably not doing a great job first. But on the other hand, you have then the best opportunity of your life. Why? Because you found something, you have a quality question, you have a good question that you can ask, that you can DM, and that individual that sees that message, that gets the how would I call it, the ability to reply to you will be like, oh my God, this dude is so smart, how did we miss this, right? And he will remember you because of the good question. But if your question is, where is the how do I stake, and the stake is the first thing on their website, then that individual won't really see you as the best maybe user or opportunity or an individual that they can have a discussion with. So this is why I always say, right questions are the best. You need to think about the question before you ask it. If you cannot find the answer, that's the golden opportunity for actually opening up a conversation with someone else. And in this case, if you find the exactly right fit, that question that is truly needs the answer and requires digging, it could be a door opener for work. It could be a door opener for chatting with high founders, well-known people in the space, influencers, and everyone else. So search for the information, look it up. If you don't have the answer, then ask. Next thing is tagging people in posts without relevance. Just before we go into this topic as well, these are the most common mistakes, as I mentioned. So these don't stack on top of each other. So we are going a bit left and right since there is no exact, I would say, formatting of these things. So each topic is, I would say, on its own, but when you combine it into one big group, then it gives a full context. So tagging people in posts without relevance. I have to share this as well. And I will also share an example on what I mean in the end of this presentation. Tagging random people in tweets to get attention looks spammy. This is not the way you should communicate with people, right? If your post doesn't relate to them, it clutters their notification, it probably annoys them, and over time, they will probably mute you or block you. So tag only when the post is relevant for that account, that individual online. Let's go into the tricks and tips. Tag people if your post involves them or adds value for them. Don't tag people just to boost your post because everyone knows that you're doing it because of that or something of a sort. So be careful on when and respect their notifications. So what's a yes is sharing a thread about Solflare and tagging Solflare account, right? Posting a meme and tagging 10 team members from Solflare or whatever other company, not the best approach, right? Because then you're not the only one, right? And if you do that continuously and you try to do that more and more and more and more, at certain point, notifications, I will say it personally, as I said, this is a hard topic for me as well, since I love our community and I truly want to help our community. But to share these things, I have to state it clearly, right? My notifications look extreme, and I have at least 500 notifications a day. And when I try to, and this is why I miss certain things, right? This is why I miss certain posts. This is why I miss certain people. And it gets much harder for me to track all of the things that you guys ping me on, tag me on, which is on the other hand quite fine for me. But on the other hand, for certain people, and I've faced that in previous companies where I've been, where they would block individuals just because they've shared certain things with them on multiple ends, because they wanted to have their profiles clean. So when you're doing these things, try to once again the microphone. Try to find the post where it will actually bring value, or you gave an effort to share, to draft, to post, and then tag individuals that post is related to or addresses them on or something of sort. Trust me on this, you will get much higher engagement, much higher reach, much higher credibility and love from everyone that you tag by doing this, rather than tagging 50 people. Also, for the people that you tag, if they join and open up the post or whatever where you tag them and they see 50 other people, are they feeling happy, or are they feeling that you dedicated that post to them, right? I don't think so, because there's other 50 people on there, right? So it's, if you're sharing something about someone and you want to make them feel, make them see it, make them feel appreciated, then tag that individual, maybe 2-3 others max or something. Don't overdo it. This is also something that we'll cover later on in the Twitter growth hacks and Twitter profiles and posting and so on and so on. But this also goes into the communication aspect of our workshops, since this is the way you communicate with these individuals, through tagging them and commenting and so on and so on. So if you're overdoing it, once again, certain people could block you, mute you, or whatever, and then you lose that access or the ability for the future to do something just because of a small mistake, I would say. So trust me on this one. Trust me. You'll see that it will be much better if you stop doing that. Spamming DMs or too many reminders. Okay, this one is an interesting one as well. Sending daily messages or demanding replies makes you look impatient and rude. People in Web3 are quite busy and may take time for them to respond. Spamming lowers your chances of getting a reply. So be patient, give people time to answer. And what does this exactly mean is you can remind people of things. You can approach people to check certain things again. But if you DM them 5 times a day and do that again tomorrow and the day after and the day after, right? You are not looking at it, you are not acting as a professional in this space, right? And trust me, in the groups that we have with other companies, in the groups where I worked for previously, companies wait for replies for a couple of days maybe or something, because we might have read it, I might have read it, I'm searching for an answer, it takes time, we might not have the information immediately. So you do need to understand that aspect as well. And this does not also mean that you are the only person that individual is interacting with, right? Unless something is urgent and something is quite a big deal, then of course being a bit more pushy towards the issue is fine, since it's a bigger issue. But for basic things, I truly don't see the need for it. So I'm giving here a trick or tips is send the first reminder after 3 to 5 working days. Weekdays, not weekends. Skip the weekends. So 3 to 5 working days. Send the second reminder after 2 weeks if there is still no reply. And don't spam daily follow-ups. It will get you nowhere. People that read the messages will get to it, of course. They might have not opened the message. Currently, my Telegram has 4,768 messages. It takes time. I go over everything, but it takes time. I'm sure that other departments have it even worse. So give people the time. Once they see that you're a professional, that you asked politely, that you waited for a certain time before pinging them again, that you approach it with respect, it's much higher probability that you'll get a reply, that people will see it, that people will get to you, right? And what I mean by that, 3 to 5 working days, is weekends do not count. If you send a message on Friday and you didn't get a reply on Monday, come on. But not everyone works over the weekend, even though it is 24/7, but still you need to think about that as well. Pro tip for those that are here listening in: best days to DM someone, request something, and get a reply is Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay, maybe what did I write wrong? Why are you trolling me in the comments? So best days are Tuesday and Wednesday, somewhere that beginning of the week, midweek. Why? The Monday hit them. They sorted out the urgent things that they needed. It's not the best day to start working on, right? Everyone loves Friday more. So if you send it on Tuesday or Wednesday and time it correctly, right, you have higher chances of getting a reply. So this is a pro tip. So once again, the yes one is, hi, just checking in on my last message, appreciate your time. Super respectful, clarifying what you need, of course, if you stated in your first message what you need, as we discussed previously above, right? But what's a no is, hey, answer please, bro, why no reply? GM. Not the best approach, right? Would you act? Do you expect that, I don't know, Mark Zuckerberg DMs, I don't know, whoever else like that? Maybe Elon Musk would do that. Okay, Elon Musk I could see doing that. Jokes aside, but top tier people don't do that. So, and if you want to be one of those people, if you want to be in that company, you need to act as one of them, right? So fake it till you make it in the way. And this is quite important to remember. And how would I call it? I face this issue as well. I also do these things where I don't reply to these things and stuff like that. That is true. I will not hide that. But if someone reminded me after a couple of days, stayed respectful, didn't spam, and goes, hey, Mackie, can you bro, please take a look at this? I'm still having this issue, or I would appreciate the help. My first instinct on that is, oh my God, I forgot about this dude. Oh, he was so nice and waited. I totally forgot. I'm doing it immediately. I'll take a look at it and I'll be like, bro, I'm on it right now. Sorry to keep you waiting. I was super busy or whatever. I'll try to find a solution, right? But if I get DMs, hello, why no reply? Hey, I need this, I need that. Are you really respecting the way you should communicate and search for the answer, right? So this is a personal example, but I think it applies to a huge amount of people in this space. And trust me, you will not stand out by pinging people and spamming things. You will stand out by being polite and professional and using these tips and tricks, because I personally do that and it works, right? Next one. Ignoring time zones and personal time. Okay, this is one that's quite also good, combined, of course, with when to DM someone, what days are the best. On the tips that I gave is people in Web3 work across the world. Messaging them at night or weekends or when they are offline shows that you don't respect their time. So respect people's work hours and personal time. What does that mean? Is DM during weekdays, that means from Monday to Friday, and daytime in their time zone. If you know the time zone. If you don't, then you don't have that information, right? If unsure, check their bio for location, if they have hints or activities, if you want to get the chances to the maximum level, right? Avoid pinging during holidays or weekends unless it's urgent. So what does this also mean and goes with is that if it's a Friday, right, and someone is getting offline or going on a holiday or just is not working over the weekend, which is, I would say, fine, right? And just because you're active and scrolling on Twitter and getting certain things, and you ping them during that weekend, right? You might have pinged them in the evening around 10 in the evening on Sunday, Saturday, or Friday, or whatever, right? The chances of them opening that immediately are not as big, right? Because they are not using the work computer, phone, or whatever that they have. And then by Monday, 50 other people did the same thing, right? So your DM goes and gets lost in all of that chatter and multiple DMs and pings and requests. And instead of standing out, you are bundled in that weekend spam type of thing that people need to sort out as fast as they can on Monday if they actually want to. So the filtering system for the individuals on Monday and going through these DMs is, what do I actually need to reply to and what do I actually can completely ignore because it's irrelevant, right? Because I don't want to do it. I have 50, 100, 200, 300 messages that I need to reply to. And are you that important, or is there certain priorities, right? From team, from companies, from partners, from collaborations, and so on and so on. So if you don't respect that, you'll get lost in the chatter that could be ignored. Combining the information now that you have by sending the DM on Tuesday during the work hours without spamming someone, being respectful, going to the point, asking immediately what you need, and hitting that right spot of respect, right? I guarantee the chances are much, much higher of you getting a reply and getting the solution for your question or whatever you are doing or asking for. So this is also quite interesting. So if someone was online, certain people are online 24/7, I respect that. Certain people like me need sleep sometimes, need sleep. So I might not be able to reply to things immediately, right? But think about this as well, since it will give you an edge over people who do not see this as an important aspect of Web3 communication, but trust me, it really is. And especially when you implement all of the things that we are covering. Messaging on wrong channels. Okay, this one is also quite interesting. And just because you have someone's personal contact doesn't mean you should use it. Respect people's boundaries and follow the correct contact methods. Meaning, use the right channels for professional conversations. What does this mean? Is if you have 3 different ways of contacting someone and somehow you ended up having their Telegram channel or you have their phone number or WhatsApp or something of a sort, does it mean that you have to use it, right? First thing that you ask yourself is the topic beforehand is he the right person to reach out to, right? And the second thing is, how important is this question to get a reply to immediately? And then where should I reach out to? What channels should I use? Either could it be a different person, or okay, I need that specific individual. Okay, he replies here and here. I will send it as everyone else. I'll take my time. But if you abuse the system and if you abuse the direct ways of communicating with people that you have access to that would be quite fast, much faster and everything else, without a specific goal value that's imminent for them to know and for you to know, you will get removed from that access, right? And then in the future, when you actually need someone, you might not get a reply because you abused that information, that contact that you had, right? So use public or work accounts unless invited to personal ones. Follow official forms, support channels, and everything else on how to DM someone, interact with someone. Don't skip the process just because you have a direct line, unless someone said that you can do it and stuff like that. And trust me, this is also quite important. So the yes one is contacting a support manager on Telegram after checking the community FAQ, which we had as an example on our Telegram, right? And you could DM us if you had issues because we said it so, right? But DMing a founder on their personal phone for a support question, not really, again, or if we say everything needs to go through Discord, and of course it takes time, and then you switch to WhatsApp, then you switch to tickets, then you switch to Telegram, then you switch to X, and then you have 15 conversations with that individual, right, as well. It gets lost. It gets hard to track. It gets tiresome when their focus is probably on one channel that they set. And in our case, okay, if you need something, open a ticket on Discord, specific ticket, follow the instructions. And once we see that, trust me, you'll have a direct line of communication. Most of you know this. I'll say DM me, we'll sort it out, right? Or Tommy will say this, or someone else will say that. But respect the channels of communication and don't abuse these channels just because you have them. Because sometimes in the future, when you need it, you might not get a reply. I'm using myself and our community as an example, not to offend anyone in the space, right? But this works, and this is for everything and every other company out there. Following up too soon after being told to wait or being given the information or things like that. So if someone says that it will take a time, they'll post an update, you'll know later. Again, don't be spammy and following up multiple times immediately. Give them time to finish their work, give them time to get the information, give them time, listen to what they're saying, read what they're saying. So respect the time and the timelines that these people give you. If you are not doing that, it just showcases that you are not reading or understanding what they're saying or what they are asking from you, or if they have the, how would I call it, they might not have the information, maybe the information is not public, and so on and so on. So in these certain cases and things, if you need something, asking something, requesting something, that's not like a question-wise, but more like work-wise or stuff like that, wait a couple of weeks, then approach again to see if the update was released, if there is more information, if the issue was solved, if the bug was fixed. If they said we'll announce it, check out their socials, take a look. It's fine to ask, hey, I've been following up socials, didn't see the answer for this update. Then you'll probably get a reply and more information on it. Trust that they will share when they are ready, but give them time to sort out and find that information. You are not gonna miss on anything if you follow up with if you read the message that they shared. Of course, I'm giving this all as an example when it comes to people who are, how people should act and communicate in a space. I'm not saying that everyone does that, and I'm not saying that every founder or individual that works in the space is like this. I'm just giving overall things. And in most cases, this can also be transitioned in the regular Web2 world as well, in your daily careers or whatever you want to do. So the yes one is, hey, just checking in on whatever. As you mentioned, no rush, let me know when possible. This was like after 3 weeks, 2 weeks, or whatever. Of course, the timeline depends on the situation, but I trust you know the difference, right? But any updates yet every 2 days when the issue is not as urgent or not burning, not really the best approach. Okay, pitching ideas without a plan or structure. And this is something we will cover in the workshops. This is something we will cover in the working groups. All of these things are quite important. Reaching out with an idea that's not formed, that's not clear. It's not the approach you should take. Professionals expect you to know what you want. As I said, professionals, people in the space, expect you to know what you're talking about and you know the plan on how you're doing this, right? So prepare a clear, short plan before DMing or pitching anything to anyone. Why? Because if you get asked the questions you don't know the answers to, are you really prepared? No. If you ask, hey, I wanna, I don't know, fly to the moon, right? And you DM that to someone and they ask you, okay, how are you doing that? What do you need from me? When are you doing that? What's the plan with what you're doing that? How are you promoting that? And do you have those answers? I don't think so, right? So you will say, oh, I'm just thinking of some sort of support or whatever. And you don't have the plan, you didn't share a lot of things. So does it show that you are a professional and that you truly care about this? Or could it show that maybe someone, something, whatever is just trying to extract value or get the benefits as fast as they can without actually putting in the effort? So put in the effort. Doesn't have to be 100 pages or things, but try to structure it, present it nicely, and you will get much faster replies and much better replies, and doors will open and more opportunities will come this way. So write down what you want, how you want it, when you want it, and why does it matter for both you and the individual that you're contacting. Explain how they can help and what value will they get from that. Keep it short and keep it structured. If you prolong it, if you over-explain it, people are lazy to read, as we already established, right? So it doesn't have to be long. couple of slides, one pager is more than enough to explain your idea and showcase that you gave it a bit of thought, especially if you invest a bit of time in designing it and structuring it the right way with a clear tone. So on the yes side is, I have a partnership idea, a 2-week campaign that drives new users to both of our projects. Happy to send you a one-pager. Okay, I know what you want, I know how we can do it, I see the value behind it and everything else. The no one is, bro, let's collab, big things coming. Did that message give any type of information on what collab, with what company collab? You maybe not have DM'd them from a company profile. It might have been a personal run, right? What is big things? Big thing for you might be, I don't know, buying a new car, while the company on the other hand is buying a new country, right? So is it big for you and me in that way? It's not. So you also have to think from that perspective, especially if you're approaching companies, users, individuals who might have a better career or are in bigger places in the company-wise roles, whatever. So try to find that gap and try to be precise on what you're saying. Don't worry about this one. It's quite fast, and all of these small things, all of these topics we'll cover. We'll have a workshop on how to structure your ideas, how to make a business plan in the Web3 space to pitch to other people, how to structure these presentations, how to type DMs. All of these small and common mistakes that I'm mentioning here will be covered eventually throughout the workshops. All of these key points can be in depth. We can go into super extreme mode and take a look at everything and fix everything and structure everything. So no worries. We are going now through these things just to trigger the thinking mode for everyone here, to think about these things. That's the key, because once you're thinking, you'll start asking the right questions, right? When you go over certain things, ask yourself on how I can do the things, if I'm doing this better or whatever, then you will start asking the right questions. And nobody here is perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody in the world is perfect. So everyone makes mistakes. There is not a clear formula on that. But let's try to find, at least be better every day. So even if you think you're the best, even if you think the presentation is the best, it can be a bit better. The message can always be a bit better. And these things will add on, as I always say, 1% at a time, and you will be 3x in the year on where you started, right? Even more. Next one, sending links, files, or images without asking first. This is a space that everyone knows is a bit hard to be in. There is a lot of scams, there is a lot of issues, there is a lot of phishing links, fake websites, fake channels, and so on and so on. So people fear scams and won't click on random links or open unknown files. Always ask before sending links or files to a specific individual. So first explain what the file is about, what you're sending. Ask how they prefer to receive it. If you're sharing it, use well-known links, safe links, like for example Google Docs, Notion, and etc., so they know it's a legitimate website. For yeses, I made a short document outlining my idea. Can I send you the link? Completely fine. Sending a random Google Drive or unknown website link without context, definitely not what someone will open up, even if it comes from a trusted contact, right? People can get hacked, people can get scammed, people can, on every other platform, on every other social network. So be careful on that as well. I would say it's fine to send like a JPEG or an image, especially if it's one pager or a short summary of something. But anything else, and besides that, maybe Twitter profile link that everyone kind of knows, handles and stuff like that. But more in-depth stuff, be careful with that approach. Once again, on this, a few topics that we've covered, depends, of course, I'll say it again, depends on the person that you're reaching out to. Depends on the person, on the context, depends on your relationship with the person, depends on where you are at, where they are at. Everything changes. The formula is not, we cannot draft the formula correctly, but think about all of these things before you act and before you approach Web3 communication. Splitting messages into 15 parts, I'll go into that, and I think that's quite easy. Sending each sentence, each word as a separate DM is a spam of notifications, is a spam of pings on the phone. Yeah, exactly what Tommy is doing. People prefer one clear formatted message. It's fine to send a couple, completely fine, but don't split it up into 50 messages word by word, especially if someone has a phone online, right? They're probably muted immediately. So send one message, not 15 small ones. So write the whole message before pressing send. Use line breaks, use points, use emojis, small amount, we'll cover that as well. Split the messages. There is a lot of formatting. Learn how to format things on Telegram, on Discord, on Twitter. There's a cool trick, for example, Shift Enter will split it into a different row on most apps, on most social media accounts. So do that. It's easier to read, easier to track, rather than for them to scroll inevitably to find the answer and check out the message. So I think that's quite clear. Overusing emojis, sending voice DMs. Too many emojis make your messages look childish or not as relevant or super messy, right? Especially in the business world. Friend-wise, people-wise, of course, all good. That's how we express ourselves over online things, right? But in the professional aspect of business online, don't overuse them. Web3 space, of course, loves them. But if you want to emphasize something, ask yourself, like we did on our profiles, will it bring value here? Will it pop up this thing that I wanted to say? Think about it, then place it. If it can work without the emoji, then it probably should, right? So also, voice messages are hard to listen. People cannot go over them unless they're somewhere private or something of sort. Completely skip them. No matter if someone replies to you over voice messages, you always should type it in. First off, because it's easier to always go back to the conversation rather than listening of 50 voice messages that you've heard or sent or received or whatever. Keep your messages clean, easy to read. So use one or two emojis, only if they fit per message. I would say average message, so I'm not going to go into how long that is, right? Write text instead of sending voice notes. Brief, professional, once again, clear and respectful. Hey, I really like your project. Would you be whatever? Now the message goes on, right? But hi, 15 emojis, can we collab? 15 exclamation marks, question marks. Not really the nicest formatting, right? Would the CEO send that? Would a CEO of some company send that? Probably no, unless you know them and you have a good vibe with them. So that's also a different thing, right? But at first, immediately, the first message, I don't think they would send that at all. Sharing too many personal stories. This is also one thing that I've seen in the space, is sharing too many personal things about your life, about you, is not the way to conduct professional business conversations. Not because people don't want to hear it, but depending on the situation, keep it professional. Share certain things, completely fine, like, hey guys, going on a vacation with my family, completely fine, right? But sharing on what I have been doing, how we had a fight, and that every day we fight, and then so on and so on. Does it bring any value? Of course, in the business world, with company to company or business type of conversation, not so much, right? So stay professional unless you have a relationship built with that connection, with that individual, either a friend or an owner of some company that you already exchange bits of information like that between each other. Personal things in opening lines, on first contact and on first messages will not trigger the reaction that you would like. Unfortunately, that's not how the world works. I would want to help everyone, but I can't, right? To help everyone, we would need infinite amount of money, which we don't have, right? So Going into emotions immediately without knowing anyone, asking for stuff like that, playing on these emotions will not bring you anywhere. And if I truly don't think that that's the approach anyone should take in the space. Sometimes people might be okay, fine, let's do it or whatever. In most cases, no, but that's how I think. Maybe I'm wrong, right? So focus on the topic, personal stories only if they fit the conversation topic. With new connections, keep it work focused, build trust first, then share bits of personal information to have a better relationship with that individual. Of course, we are all people, we all want to chat, we all want to hang out, so it's important to also understand that. Thanks for your time. I'll send the project plan shortly. Fine message, but I'm feeling tired today, had a long night out. Anyway, about that partnership. Do I really care because you went out and you feel tired and you're that and that in messages, right? It's just I had to read it, then give me information. So if you just said, give me another hour, I'll send it again. Cool, I have the information I need. But if I met you and we shared 15 messages, am I really the person for that? Is someone else really the person for that? I wouldn't say so. So if you act more professional, you'll get higher rate of success, definitely. Writing long DM without a clear point, long, unfocused messages are a waste of time for you and for everyone else. People skip walls of text if they cannot quickly find the main point, especially if they are in a rush. So be clear and to the point. What I mean by that? Say what you need in the first few lines. Use bullet points, short paragraphs if needed, structure, format the message, add more details if asked. So, quick question, does your platform support NFT staking? Okay, that's fine, but on the no side is high. So I was looking at your platform and thinking about staking and NFTs and maybe it works, but I'm not sure. So could you explain how that works because I couldn't find it anywhere, so on, right? I would get a stroke in reading that when the question was just like, does your platform support NFT staking? So I will just browse through this and be like, okay, what? Like I'll check this huge message later on when it's quite a simple, plain way to answer, right? So keep it shorter, keep it more compact, keep it to the point, professional, formatted, and it will bring much bigger, I would say, value to you and to everyone else in that conversation. Going into over explanation of things and stuff like that, just because you think it's cool and adds value, it might not, right? If someone asks the question, then share it. Don't overdo it and send 500 line DM or message. How many times have you read that type of message? Ask yourself, how many times do you check all of the groups that you're a part of? You're checking this Discord. I'm sure that on your left side you have a million Discord channels and everything else that you don't check. So ask yourself, why am I not checking all of these other servers when I'm checking the Solflare Guardians, right? Or the Solflare Discord server. So all of these things seem simple, but they are not. If you go into the depth of that question and if you try to understand yourself, you will definitely start understanding others. And that is truly the goal that we are trying to achieve here. Called DMing. Okay, this one is now on how to approach the people, and people are more likely to reply to you if they recognize you from somewhere, either from communities, from comments, from different community chats. Cold DMs without any public interaction often get ignored. Engage publicly before sliding into DMs. This is one of the reasons, of course, as well, we are giving out NFTs. We want our guardians to connect with other communities, to get recognized through these communities, because the more you are with other people, the more connections you will build and the more recognition you will get. So someone might be a cool member from XYZ collection, right? SMBs, for example. And if people see me and have good relationship with most of the SMBs, they see that I have an SMB, they will probably assume that about me as well. They'll see I'm a part of that community, they'll put me in that basket. So they have a certain perception about me. Definitely, if I wanted to reach out to someone and I have commented on their posts with value, with good questions, not GM, hey, YOLO, or whatever, I do that. I'm just lazy. I completely will admit that. I just type it in quickly and that's it for me. But I'm not grinding it. If you wish to grind it, if you want to get to a certain level to engage with someone, for them to react to you and recognize you, engage in a meaningful way, I would say that 10, 15 thought out replies and comments or engagements are worth more than 100 random ones, because everyone's random. Be unique, be different, show that you thought about it before you wrote it. So engage in shared communities or group chats, and build visibility before reaching out to people privately. Okay, commenting on the yes side, commenting, great insight on that thread. I had a follow-up question. What do you think about this or that? I don't agree with that or that. But random cold DM is, hey bro, can you help me? Or just like I would definitely notice more the comment side of great insight on the thread rather than a cold DM from someone I've never seen. And then I see the comment and say, oh, this guy actually said a really good question and that's an interesting insight. Let me chat with him a bit. You've made me spot you, right? And when you DM me later on, I'll be like, oh, I know this guy. Oh, that was a great comment, a great dude. So this way you'll get noticed. Writing long DM without a clear point. We went through it. There is a bit of structuring difference between these things. So I think this one is repetitive. Yes, okay, I know why. Okay, the next one is the last one. I won't skip now. So the next one is the last one. This is the one that I was extremely struggling with. If I should place it, if I should not place it, how can I explain it? How can I approach it? And I came to a solution and an idea. The idea is, I think everyone has heard of Sir Lancelot, right? The best guy from King Arthur and everything else, Sir Lancelot, right? And I think in the comments you would agree with me. You've watched the movies, you've seen the movies, and everything else, right? So, Sir Lancelot is a sir, right? I am just a monkey in the Web3. I am not a sir. I do not have that title. I will not have that title. So, that way, that said, no sir in your communication channels. Why is that? First things first. As I said, I am not Sir Lancelot. I am Mackie the monkey, the jokester, the whatever, right? But on the other hand, jokes aside, is in Web3, words like sir are heavily linked with scam messages. That's a fact. It's a fact. Every scam, every DM, every hoax or whatever starts with sir. This is how people use this word mostly, right? Scammers often start with hello sir, making people instantly suspicious of the message and the content of the message. So sir triggers scam warnings in people's minds. That's a fact. This is something that I was thinking of saying or not saying, and this is something that I will say it here because I love our community. And people will look down upon you if you use and abuse this word. I know it's the culture, it's how people were taught. I know that people learn that in schools. I've had that conversations, but in this world, and I think you would probably be aware of that, everything starts with that word. So if you're addressing someone, don't start with sir. Trust me on this. Don't start with that. Don't address people as sirs. Nobody is a Sir Lancelot here. He is long gone. We are all apes and Web3 crazy people, I would say. Everyone has a nickname. Everyone has how they're called in the space, right? So say hi or hey or hello instead of sir. Use person's name, username if you can, and start your message with why you're reaching out, as we said. So it's better to say, hello Mackie, hope you're well, wanted to ask that and that, or hi Mackie, or hey bro, hey fam, hey man, and so on, rather than hello sir. I am not a sir, I will never be a sir, and if I go over my DMs and I show you my DMs, you would see hundreds of messages starting with hello sir, which have phishing links, that have scam, that have viruses, that have a lot of different information whatsoever, right? So when I see that message in my spam filter, when I see that message anywhere on Telegram, sometimes I don't even open the message because it starts like that. And I'm sure that's also the case for a good amount of people in the space. So try to remove it from the vocabulary if you agree with me. If you don't, completely fine. Once again, it's cultural differences, it's different ways of learning and approaching the conversations. But I personally think that, and I will stand behind this statement, and I will take the blame or whatever comes from saying this. So not Sir Mackie or whatever, just Mackie, and that's it. And this is the list that we've covered, and we had around 20 points that we just had. Common mistakes and topics, so using sir, reaching out to the wrong person. All of this will be available for you. All of this will be given to you as a resource in our education library together with the recording of this session. Even though the recording sucks a bit since I don't know what's wrong with it, I'll still need a bit of time to calibrate it correctly. So you can go over everything that you've seen and check out every aspect of this once again. I will say it, I'll move to another, okay, this is just too much of yellow and whatever in my face, so I'll go back to this one. It's, how would I call it? All of these topics have a different approach. All of these things should be approached with critical thinking. This is not the exact formula. This is not that I am right, I'm 100% wrong on things here. It might not work in every situation, but I'm giving you the blueprint and the hacks to start thinking about these things when you're approaching people. It's because others don't, most people don't. Most people don't think about this, don't think this is relevant. And once you start thinking like this, critically about how you interact, how you approach, because if you send 100 DMs and you got maybe a one reply, could it be that you are doing something wrong? How can you improve it? How can you come for that number 2, number 5, number 10, or 100 out of 100, right? So try to think critically about these points, about these common mistakes that we mentioned. And later on, do not worry, we will cover all of these things. We'll play around with on how to approach people. We'll make quizzes, we'll make workshops where we play around with creating a fake profile, and you can try to come and pitch your project to that fake profile, that individual. We'll create templates for presentations, for guides, for one-pagers, all of these things. So you have at least a baseline, and then the community itself will say, let's do it this, let's do it like that, this looks better, this looks worse, and so on and so on.